It's Wednesday, August 16th at 6:15, and calling the Board of Health meeting to order. Is anyone else recording this besides LakeCAM? I see no one. First, the agenda is 10 Denise Street, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested local upgrade approvals. How's it going?
Good. Will Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers, for the record, on behalf of David Coach. The site is 10 Denise Street. There is an existing one-bedroom dwelling with a failed septic on site. We're proposing an upgrade which will consist of a 1,500-gallon two-compartment septic tank, a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and a 12 by 22 Presby bed.
That is a well. Okay. So it's just this guy. Okay.
We are requesting local upgrades for a reduction of the required number of deep holes from 2 to 1, a reduction in the setback between the leaching field and an abutting well, which is located on map 39, block 1, lot 15, from 100 feet to 68 feet, and a reduction in the required setback between the leaching field and the well on the locust property from 100 feet to 68 feet. So we're essentially just pinning the system as far away from each well as we possibly can. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Can you put the plan up on the thing?
Yeah.
Do we have any information about the well that's on site?
I do not.
Nor do I.
And you have to flip interior to a building.
Looks inside.
It will have to be. We will have to need a water analysis from that and send it to us before we can issue a certificate of compliance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have no record of previous testing or any information on the depth or anything else or how old it is. Or
That was one thing I had. I mean, it's got advanced treatment and moving as far away as I can see. I can't see anywhere else to move it to. You got anything, Bob?
No, it's a one bedroom, so yeah, I don't know where else you can put it.
How about you, Ed?
yeah, like I said, it will be a one-bedroom deed restriction, and then yeah.
Anyone else want to speak to this? I see no one. I'm good with it.
All right, then I'll make a motion. We approve the 3 local upgrade requests for what number, Denise? 10 Denise Street.
I'll second that. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, next on the agenda, continued discussion from August 2nd regarding changes to Lakeville Board of Health regulations pertaining to subsurface disposal systems and water. I don't know if you want to talk first, Bob, or we can hear from Ed. So I know Ed's got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, no, let it go. He put a ton of stuff together. He worked on this.
Yeah, just we talked about this. There's the question of like the lot we just did. That's undersized. It's only one bedroom, but it would have to be at least 10,000. It's undersized, and there's just so many of those that every time we grandfather them in, but we're not making the groundwater any safer. It's actually getting worse especially in certain neighborhoods where they're flipping a lot of these cottages that have been abandoned for 10 years. Now, although above ground looks good, below ground is getting a lot worse. So we really should, or in my opinion, we should be taking some action. And right now, the technology is out there that you can bring down those levels to an acceptable level. And especially, it would only be on the sale of the home when the person has money. I wouldn't recommend you do this in any other way, because we are very cognizant of the cost of this. And like I said, there are benefits. There are the Massachusetts just passed a new law. So prior to last year, the new bill, you you can get $6,000 rebate on a septic system, which is $1,500 a year for 4 years. The new one lets you get up to $18,000 for when you put in a new septic thing. The reason they did that is because septics are so much more. That old law was at least 10 years old, and 10 years ago the average price of a septic system was $15,000. So you got $6,000, which was about 40%. Now they're getting up to close to 25, 30. So they should have done it earlier, but at least they're doing it now. So you can get up to $18,000 back in taxes, not all at once. I think it's about $6,000 a year for like 3 years.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah,
It's a big difference.
yeah, it's a big difference. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, especially with, all the stuff with the new regulations on the Cape and what those people are gonna be going through.
Yeah.
That's pretty huge.
And then obviously there's a betterment that we have as well to help people with that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, before we go through all the different towns and what they're doing, that's gonna be a longer discussion. Should we wait for Derek for the next one, or?
Yeah,
Wanna go through it all
he's
now?
got more to say, and,
Yeah.
Ed had mentioned that there was more talk about other things too, so. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to add to this?
Yeah, he's printed up a bunch of other towns and their specific regs and different things to look at, but without Derek here, we'd just be doing the whole conversation over again at our next meeting, so because of that, I'll make a motion, we continue that discussion until our next meeting.
I'll second that. Any more discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is continued discussion from August 2nd regarding open space residential development bylaw with the town planner, Mr. Resnick.
So, I passed out the latest revisions of the bylaw. We made 5 or 6 changes based on a conversation at the last meeting. The first one is on the halfway down, number C on the first page, where I've added that the Conservation Commission and the Board of Health be invited to the informal meeting, the pre-application meeting. Just it's a required thing that they must at least come before the planning board informally, just to get us inform them about the project. Then if you move to
quick question.
Yep.
When you say Board of Health, does that have to be the chairman? Can it be any member?
So the planning board shall invite. It doesn't mean anybody has to attend.
Okay, so they could all attend if they wanted to? Or?
As long as we post it.
Well, if you would all attend.
Yeah, we would
they have
post
to
it.
Post it.
Yeah, but that's fine. But like we could do that?
Yes, certainly. But again, at this level, they'll probably come in with just like a GIS mapping. They probably won't even have an on-field survey yet. They won't spend any money of any significance.
Yeah, I guess just on the scale of the project. If it's a
Yes.
small project, maybe one, but if it was a large enough project that everything could go.
They're just going to want to inform the board, get any feedback, make sure that there's not something known about the site that they don't know about that could create a problem.
It's not Derek. Derek doesn't drive with GMC.
Sorry,
So, well,
shiny things.
All right.
So, no, yeah, I saw that. I actually went and saw Mark today, so he did with that incorporate the deep hole in the park on every lot that they want to get credit for, which anybody watching it for you guys, we wanted to make sure they weren't going to get credit for any lots that weren't already buildable now. So I still don't know what's going to happen at town meeting, but I'm very comfortable saying though that if this passes, there'll be no extra houses built on a piece of property that can get built there today by right.
Yep.
And it'll open up some free space without the town having to buy it, to have some open space kept natural.
right. So that requirement that you can't have more than what you could permit through the current rules and regs is on the second page, E1. So, and that was in there. So then the next change I made was the one you also just mentioned about the deep hole and the perk hole, which is on page 5. number 3. And then I also added number 4. You had mentioned that you thought the wetland should be delineated at that preliminary stage level. So because that would determine whether the lot could be buildable, whether a septic system location could be if they're doing septic. So, I added number 4, which requires that they go to Concom and do an ANRAD.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they should be at an ANRAD phase at that point anyway, yes.
Yep. So, and then the next page, I added, you had talked about septic tanks, and that you may be looking at changing your regs, but I put it right in the OSID that within 10 feet of the front of the property line that there shall be a septic tank, and there shall be easement shall be granted to the homeowners association to allow regular cleaning.
So what you say within 10?
Yeah, within 10 feet of the property, so they can't stick it way in the back. So.
But we have a 10-foot offset for property lines.
Oh, so you already require them to be...
Yeah, that might have been a misunderstanding, because I wouldn't care if it was in the backyard. as
So
long
you
as they
could
get
put
there
it
to pump it.
at between 10 and 15,
Okay.
but you can't put it like 5 feet off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, without a waiver.
I mean, unless the houses were gonna be so close together that you couldn't get an excavator down there. I think that was Derek's concern, so maybe that's where they said in the front yard, but, I mean, as long as they leave room to get by, there's tons of houses that are in the backyards.
Okay.
Right,
And
and we talked about this individual tanks, probably preferred, especially if it's gonna be a community septic, just so
Yeah.
you can see what everyone's
Well,
putting
yeah,
into
if
the
that's the
system.
case, then yeah, you want them all out front, so it'll be
Yeah.
cheaper for them in the long run to pump them all. And, yeah.
I think most of these will work out that way anyway, I think, it's just the way, because everything's so tight.
so instead of saying it's certain distance, I'll just say in the front yard.
I don't even care if it's in the front, yeah. Do you think there's a reason for it?
No.
No.
Okay. So they required for each lot, period.
It might be something that just, it'll come up during the planning, to be like, it'll just make more sense to go in the front yard probably.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll make that adjustment. So it reads, if a common septic system is proposed, then septic tank shall be required for each house lot, period. And then easement shall be granted to the homeowners association to allow for regular cleaning. And I believe that was the last change that you had requested from the last meeting. So.
Yeah. No, I read it out too early and I'm fine with it the way it is.
Yeah, and I think Derek was in agreement with most of the changes too, he didn't have anything in addition to that, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, he did comment on the one about the perk test, but then once we reworded it, he was fine with it.
Okay.
We got one depot and one perk.
But
Yeah. Except that's when I was fine with it too. I mean, if somebody asks at town meeting and I gotta get up, I just wanna be able to say, you know, you guys can be for or against this, but, you know, I'm very comfortable that not one extra house will get built now that couldn't have already got built there. And then by letting them move them all in the front, people who don't know about, cluster or open space now is a new word phrasing for it, but ultimately it leaves a lot of the land, with a restriction on it that can never get built. So it's a way of preserving town and woods in the town without us having to pay for it out of our taxes, so I'm for it in the current form personally. I don't think we need to vote to do anything, but
I don't think so either.
I'm okay with it the way it is.
Yeah, I think so too. And as long as Derek's comments were addressed, I'm good with that too.
Okay.
Thanks,
You
Mark.
guys got anything on this?
the whole town. He's proposing a regulation for the whole
It's
town.
a new bylaw for the entire town. So,
No.
nope.
Any place over
much open
20
land.
acres?
20 acres.
Any place over 20 acres, basically, for years it's worked, you know, we have 1 3/4 lots. So you gotta go in there, you gotta build a road, you gotta put in a giant drainage because the road's so big, you gotta cut down almost every tree. People think that's a lot, but it's not at the end of the day. So what this does is, when they called it cluster zoning, people weren't in favor, but now you call it open space, and it's the same thing, but, so now what it does is, the problem I had with it is somebody could just go in and draw a picture and get credit for lots that aren't buildable right now. Could be ledge, just, you know, or we know the groundwater is, or we know it doesn't perk for some other reason. And I didn't want people getting credit for those lots because nobody can build there anyway. But now, with the changes we've made, you gotta go out there and prove every lot you get. And then, so once you prove the lot is buildable to us, then you can have that number of lots, you can make the lot smaller, and then you can leave all that space you're not building on and leave it open space for the town.
And most towns have it, we haven't had it. It's
Yeah.
been talked about for, I mean, geez,
Yeah.
for years to come here, and it's
Yeah.
been, we're about a year now, right, Mark? That we started to do it.
And the format now, I'm comfortable saying that at town meeting, saying that, you know, there'll probably still be people, you know, nobody's for anything anymore, but, you know, I'm very comfortable. I can tell people this will not allow one extra house to get built in the town. So, and then the people who really want to keep all the woods and keep it open, you know, and it's a win for the developer too, because he only has to build, you know, less road, less drainage, you know, the yards are smaller, less landscaping, so.
And still sell the house probably for the same price.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because honestly, I mean, you know, and people might start meeting their neighbors again, so.
All right.
Anything else? All right.
All right, cool.
Hey, thanks, Mark.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of betterment loan for, we got two of them.
Yeah.
First is for 3 Apple House Road, an amount of $42,600 even one.
Oh, and somebody adds the 50 cents on it, you know, they just made it sound good.
So we all good with these, Ed?
Yeah,
My question is 425, I know it's for sale right now. So I just want to make sure that when we do this, it gets, put on the deed instantly in case it was to sell right away, that it's, so we get our money back, because that's for sale right now, and if paperwork got delayed a month,
Okay.
and then they sold the house and it's not on the deed, I don't want those headaches, so.
yeah, we're aware of it, and this isn't the first time it's happened.
Okay.
Other people, we give them a betterment, and the betterment's supposed to be so an average homeowner can fix a failed septic, and people are using it, they're doing it, and they're getting the money, and then they're selling the house later, which you wouldn't have to go through the betterment process, you wouldn't have to use this money is supposed to be for people that really need it and don't have another means. If you're selling the home, you can always negotiate with the buyer to take the cost off, and I don't
This
know why.
isn't a loan or a grant or a gift. I mean, this is a loan. It's not a grant or something that we're given. We just lend people because a lot of people maybe don't have the credit, or maybe they're already, you know, people see these, sometimes we do them in these really nice neighborhoods, but, you know, the guy get 2 kids in college and, you know, they're living beyond their means already, and our goal is to just get as many new septics, clean septics and working, so. The state gives us the money, and we actually charge 0.5% over, I think, for the overhead.
So
and the
we
record
do
keeping.
make a little bit of money. The town makes a little bit of money, but not a lot, but
Yeah.
it does.
Like a couple $100, not like thousands or anything, but it gives those people, and it's a super lien, and it goes on, we get paid before anything. If the
That's one
house
of the
goes
key
into
points.
foreclosures, the towns, we've been doing this for 12, 13 years that I've been on this board, and we've never cost the town a nickel. And we've got a lot of septics changed that normally people that might be retired, they don't have the money. It just,
I mean, quite a few in your neighborhood, especially with the water coming in and people want to upgrade, and it made it easier.
and it goes on the taxes and for so many years, so, I encourage people, if you can't afford to put it in, to come, because we can, you know, you don't have to have great credit, you don't have to have a job, as long as it goes in your taxes, and as long as you pay it, you pay your taxes, you don't ever have to worry, so. With all that said, I'll make a motion that we approve 3 Apple House Road betterment in the amount of $42,600.
Second that. Any more discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then I'll make another motion that we approve the betterment loan amount for 425 Bedford Street in the amount of $47,239.50. Again, noting that time is of the essence. I would like that to get recorded simultaneously as when they get the money.
I'll second that. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next
I'm
on the
gonna make a
agenda.
motion, we approve the June 7th meeting minute approval until Derek comes back at the next meeting.
Second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And, oh, it's the agenda, Board of
I'm
Health.
gonna, it's Board of Health, I should have brought it up earlier. You weren't here. When he got here, he gave us, they're trying with the planning board to, make 10% of the cluster homes affordable and have a deed restriction on them. He gave out a couple of these sheets. Ed has
Yeah,
one. I
I got
don't know
one
if
if you
they
need
put one in front of you.
Yeah, you can take mine.
Okay, but I didn't say that, it didn't come up when he was here, but I think that's a good idea. The planning board's probably gonna go for it.
It is interesting, yeah, because it could help with the numbers.
Yeah. So,
Um,
all right, now go on to new stuff, Ed. So I threw you off your game. I keep messing you up.
It's all right, I was late. My game's been thrown off all day.
Just on West Nile and Tripoli, so still no Tripoli, no, they haven't found it in mosquitoes and there's no human cases. West Nile, there's been no human cases. They've tested 47 mosquitoes so far that have been positive for West Nile. Several have been in Middleborough and Raynham. We haven't had any in Lakeville yet, but we don't know how many they're actually testing in Lakeville. But it's definitely in the area, so, you know, they recommend, you know, wear, what do you call it? Bug spray and you know, whatever, and, you know, take precautions because there's a fair amount of West Nile out there, but for Tripoli, we're doing good. Tripoli is the more, deadly one, so that's good. That's really good news. And at this point, if we're, you know, mid-August and we still have no Tripoli, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Especially where it's been such a wet year.
Yeah.
Anything new on tick stuff?
Yeah, a lot of ticks. This is a really good year for ticks, both Lyme disease, anaplasmosis, and babiosis. The last two, Lyme's always been around. That's not surprising. This is a good tick year for even Lyme because it's, I guess, mild winter or whatever. But the anaplasmosis and babiosis, those are kind of new. I mean, we've had cases in the past, but not as many as we're having now. So those two are spreading pretty well.
You had mentioned it before we had cases, then one of my customers had it. He ended up in the hospital.
Which one?
It was in babiosis in Rochester.
Yeah.
And on top of chemo.
Oh,
Yeah, he's doing good, but it's just, like, I've been around like all kinds of tablets spraying the heck out of myself. I've had so many ticks. I was in vegetation up to my chest for like 3 days last week. But,
yeah, no, it's definitely, like I said, we're good for Tripoli, but for ticks, ticks are active.
Okay. Anything else?
COVID cases are going up. You know, there's a new variant around. Most people have immunity. They're coming out with new vaccines in the fall. Depends who you talk to. I mean, you should take more precautions, but we're not in the place we were a year ago or anything like that. So it's
About a
different
quarter
story.
of the spikes we were used to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then there is a small increase in the hospitalization. It is starting to creep up there, but not the numbers that we were used to in the past. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, the wastewater surveillance was way out in Boston. I saw that a couple weeks ago.
We got a notice about listeria, and I saw sort of ice cream that was sent to multiple states. It was a kosher product that got sent out. I don't know if you've heard anything around here.
We get notified if there's a restaurant or something in Lakeville, and we were required to provide notifications. We didn't get that.
Okay.
There are stuff nationwide where, you know, certain products, but that's since
I saw that one, and I don't think it was any of the stores in the state.
I know they said they
which is
sent it
weird.
to nursing homes, which is why I got it, but I don't know if it was exclusively.
So it might have been you could have used that carrier.
It's not, it was a well-known kosher, I can get you the name of it, but soft serve ice cream, and obviously like Cisco and those that supply nursing homes, it probably was one of the ones that they all use, so.
okay.
But it did say it was multi-state. I didn't know if it was just
like if they sent it to any stores or anything, but it was recalled.
Yeah, I don't know of anything specific to Lakeville, but like I said, they do regularly have ones that go nationwide. So, but I don't keep up on all of those, so I can't answer them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ed,